Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Curious J Talk. So, let's talk about What We Do in the Shadows, the series. Now, I heard about the movie, I never saw it, and I really, really wanted to see it, but never got a chance to. And now they made a series, and the first episode just came out. Now, the movie came out in 2014. It was directed by Taika Waititi, and you know him as the director of Thor Ragnarok. But he also was in it as a Viago, as one of the originals in there. So he is now directing the series, which is so far the first episode is fantastic. So let's talk about the first episode, shall we? Now, if you haven't seen it, there's going to be spoilers. I'm telling you now. So go watch it. Watch it and come back and listen so we can talk about it. Because I want to talk about it with somebody. You know, I really, really like the series and I love to talk about it. And it's really funny. So let's talk about the characters first. First you have up Guillermo. Guillermo. I think I said that right. And he's the vampire's familiar. And it's his job to take care of Nandor. And he basically does all the normal chores around the house. He mows the lawn, boards up the house from making sure there's no sunlight coming in. And the most important job is taking care of the bodies that are left behind from them drinking him to death. That's pretty important. And as I just said, the other character, who's Guillermo is his familiar, is Nandor. Nandor is basically the leader of the household. He's kind of flighty, I guess, in that, but he's really good. He's a really great character. I think that's the character that Waititi played, but they gave him a different name. They gave him Viago. So they just renamed the guy. And then you have Laszlo and Naja. Now they're in a relationship. Now Laszlo is played by Matt Berry, who's been in a lot of stuff. I've seen him in, what was the show? I think he was in Legion, I believe, and he was really good in it, and a few other things. But he was in the original as a Vladislav. And this one, he plays Laszlo, and so those two, Laszlo and Naja, are in a relationship. And what happened was Naja made Laszlo back in, they don't really say when it was, actually, I don't believe. And pretty much Laszlo is saying how he's the handsomest guy in his town and everything. And of course Naja, butts in, because everyone had leprosy. so it's kind of pretty funny, how they met. She came up to his window and turned him into, an undead vampire. So anyways, then you also have probably the strangest character in the household is Colin Robinson. He's a vampire, but not your atypical vampire. He's a psychic energy vampire. Now, what is a psychic energy vampire? What they do is they drain people's energy by simply talking to them. And his office is basically his hunting ground where he works at during the day. So, yeah, and they walk in the day. They're day walkers. So, basically, how does that happen? He basically, when he talks to somebody, he bores them with a long conversation, or he really enrages them. Basically being annoying to an umpth degree. And I guarantee you, we all know. I know one. Believe me, I know one. I'm sure you all know one too. So they exist. Vampires do exist. And basically, like I said, they're the only ones that can walk in the day. And they are the only vampire that can drain another vampire's energy, we found out. So he's pretty powerful. And they don't really care for the guy very much. They basically try to leave him alone. What kind of vampires are they? They're basically your typical vampire. They can fly or hover or whatever. They turn into bats, and they're afraid of sunlight. They don't give too much more away, so I'm not too sure if garlic affects them. Stakes through the heart. Well, stakes through the heart from anybody will kill you, or decapitation, same thing. But we don't know. So I'm sure as the series goes on, they're going to talk more about it. So the episode basically is what happens is they get a letter. And the letter is from from the old lands, the old country. His name is Baron Afanas, if I'm saying it right. And he's basically coming to visit. And the following day, as they got the letter, they were not too pleased by that. And they want to throw some kind of little party or something like that, which is really funny if you think about vampires throwing a party for another one. That little things, hanging around. They go shopping. Nandor and Guillermo go shopping, and they find crepe paper. But Nandor keeps calling it creepy paper. He's like, creepy paper. Oh, more creepy paper. I'm a cob. Oh, multi-pack. And Galermio keeps telling him it's crepe. It's crepe paper. It's really funny, that scene. He's just so enamored by it. So they have to get ready for him. And he is this bad, old vampire, really respectful. As this is going on, Naja is secretly seeing this guy. His name is Jeff. Now, secretly seen by she's seeing him and him not seeing her because she's sneaking behind him, which is really funny. And apparently, he looks exactly like her ex-lover, Gregor, back in the day. He was a knight who was decapitated. We don't realize how he was decapitated until later on when she says she decapitated him after an intense time of lovemaking. Okay, Black Widow much? Or a praying mantis. So, yeah, that was an interesting tidbit she left out at the beginning. So, she finally meets this guy, and basically it's just... she doesn't like his name. She keeps calling him Gregor Jeff. and the guy's like, I guess he's kind of into her and everything, but anyways. Yeah, so basically, I think that it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. They don't go too far into it. They go walking together. She meets him. They go walking together in the night, and then she leaves him. As she turns on the bat, takes off. But he doesn't see that part. So, so from that point on, they meet. They finally get the Baron. The Baron comes. And I think it's played by Doug Jones. I'm not positive. They don't say. And the Baron is disappointed. He's saying they're weak, and they need to take over wherever they're at. Comes to find out they're in Staten Island, where the boat dropped them off. he thought, is this the center of the world? The power where it's going to go Staten Island, so where the boat dropped us off. So he's telling them, you better take over. He goes, I got to go to sleep. I go slumber, boy. When I come back, and they're like, oh, we're dead. They're in trouble. Oh, and Landor, he put glitter on his face. Because he wanted to look like Twilight. And after the Baron went back to sleep, he goes, he felt so embarrassed that he put glitter on him. I'm like, no kidding, so, and he was so upset he put the creepy paper up, and Naja's like, it's crumb paper. It was really funny how he's so just like dizzy, I guess, as a vampire. They were all upset, so they go to drink, and oh, that's right, I forgot to mention. They had Galerio go out. I'm never going to say his name right, by the way. To get virgins for the party, to bring him in. And they go to, he brings these virgins from this LARP group, live action role playing. That's what it's called. And they were so happy. And so they brought him, they put him, away. And so they never got around to him when the Baron was there. So it's like, well, at least we have the virgins. So they go back to go drink them. And oops. Colin found them and drained them of all their energy. So they have no nutritional value. So they couldn't drink them. They were just sitting there going, blah. It was pretty funny. And so they, at the end, as the episode was going, Galermio, I'm never going to say it like I said. He was basically excited because his master, Landor? Again, see, I'm saying the name's wrong. Nandor. Why did I say Lando? Nandor was saying he's gonna, give him a surprise and everything, basically, and he thinks he's gonna turn him into a vampire. And as he tells him, he goes, "Are you ready?" And he goes, "I'm ready, master." He gives him a glitter portrait of him and Landor. Nandor, him and Nandor. And he's so happy. He goes, "Here you go. You can hang it up in your, crappy little room." For his service of 2 years, even though he's been servicing for 10 years. He's so upset. So basically, that's the episode, how it went around. I really enjoyed it. The humor in it was really good. It's very subtle humor. When they got the letter from the master, he wanted to read it into the study, and they were like, "Just read it here." And he goes, "No, we have to go in the study. It's this protocol." It's like, read it. They were arguing where to read the letter. So if you get a chance, you really should watch it. It's an excellent show. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait for the second episode. Check it out. It's on FX, and it's really, really good. Check out What We Do in the Shadows, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And if you do, feel free to come back here and talk about it, because I'd love to talk about it with somebody. So if you like what you saw and heard and everything, just leave a like. I would really appreciate it. Subscribe so we can continue on talking about What We Do in the Shadows. And until next time, my friends, I will see you here again on another episode of Curious J Talk. Bye-bye.